Hello, good evening. I'm Sally Taylor. We're on a precipice, and this could push many over the edge. The words of a Dorset doctor concerned at new financial pressures placed on general practitioners. Unlike NHS colleagues, GPs are not exempt from the recent rise in employers' national insurance contributions, which means that surgeries are having to find tens of thousands of pounds of extra money to pay their staff. Well, now a committee representing 3,000 GPs in the South has written to MPs appealing for a change. Bryony Leyland has the story.
Good morning, Hadley Reception. Can I help you?
From the moment phone lines open at the Hadley House GP practice in Poole, the calls come non-stop.
Let me get your records up. What's your name?
Across two sites, the Hadley practice looks after more than 20,000 patients. Here, as in all GP surgeries, demand is higher than ever. The team say they do their best to get people seen, but tight budgets mean they can't afford more staff.
We are struggling. We haven't got the amount of reception team, and we haven't got enough doctors either. And we just can't meet the capacity.
How stressful is that for you and your team?
The team are really stressed. By the time they finish at lunchtime, they're all on their knees.
In a typical day, how many patients would a busy doctor see?
It probably goes, if they're on duty, they hit 50.
Your calcium, your full blood count, your liver.
GP practices care for NHS patients, but they aren't officially part of the National Health Service. They're run as independent small businesses, funded by contracts with the NHS. Dr. Andy Purbrick, who chairs a committee representing more than 3,000 GPs in the South, argues money is stretched because government funding hasn't kept pace with rising costs.
If you look at it, effectively we're getting 31 pence a day per patient, and it just doesn't pay even the staff expenses, let alone all the other things that go with it.
I am announcing an increase in employers' national insurance contributions.
A rise in employers' national insurance announced in the budget won't apply to the NHS, but it will apply to GP practices. GPs say that will pile on more financial pressure.
GP surgeries have been number crunching to see what the changes will mean for them. Currently, employers pay national insurance contributions at a rate of 13.8% on salaries just over £9,000. From April, that rate will increase to 15% on salaries over £5,000. At this surgery, which employs 89 people, they reckon that will add £60,000 in costs of national insurance contributions and another £70,000 because of rises in the minimum wage.
Decisions will have to be made if it's not funded.
GPs warn of a crisis if the government doesn't listen to their calls to boost funding and exempt practices from tax rises.
Sadly, it's going to have a significant impact on patients. Practices, as independent businesses, can't afford to run at a deficit. Practices are going to have to make difficult decisions around recruitment and replacing staff. Doctors are the most expensive commodity in a practice.
So how serious is this situation?
It's incredibly serious. I think we would describe general practice being on a precipice, and certainly for a significant number of practices, this could be pushing them over the edge.
The government says its budget decisions will mean a £22 billion funding boost for the NHS. It told us the employer national insurance rise doesn't kick in until April, and we will set out further details on allocation of funding for next year in due course. We will also hire an extra 1,000 GPs into the NHS by the end of this year, having already announced a contract uplift for GPs and practice staff. And we will ensure practices have the resources they need to offer patients the highest quality care.
Just get you to stand up with me, if that's all right.
Patient satisfaction levels with GPs are at their lowest level ever. GPs say they share the public's frustration and will do all they can to secure the extra funds they say are desperately needed to deliver the best care. Bryony Leyland, BBC South Today, Poole.